Parry Sound, and the Cambrian is participating in another rescue exercise with 3 contingents of Canadian Rescue Service. On board is helmsman Andy DeVos, a highly experienced boater all his life, Tim Gapp, retired military, Bob Corrigan, captain and owner of the Cambrian, as well as being the unit commander, Larry Woolner, a mechanical engineer, Gary Berriger, retired from Ontario Hydroforestry, Andy Rhodes, a former Arctic researcher, Frank Cardell, an OPP officer, and Peter Farquharson, a shipkeeper, and the crew MacGyver.
You're going to hear simulated rescue. When I hear from them, I'll start the process. We're going to be a fish tug in distress. I ran on the rocks, lost all power, taken on water, lost 2 people overboard in the process, giving them their last Latin long, and then go from there. Then they'll decide whether they're going to draw pumps. And once we get them in the water, we're going to boogie down that way about half a mile and get out of the way.
The Cambrian has taken up a position just beyond Red Rock off Snug Harbor. Captain Corrigan initiates communication with Flight Training Officer Dan Clark aboard the Hercules C-130 from Trenton.
Break. We've hit a shoal, taking on water. We lost 2 souls overboard. They have life jackets on. They have smoke flares and communications. Over.
2 of the crew suit up in special thermal gear to spend a lengthy period in the water as rescue subjects.
Tiger 37 Cambrian, go ahead. They're going to drop a radio to us. They're going to pretend we don't have radio communication. Would you like the vessel position at this time? 45, 15, 986 north, 80, 28, 239 west.
Flares are dropped several times from the Herc to test wind direction and velocity. This allows the pilot to make accurate drops beside or onto the boat in distress.
Okay, recover that. That's called a messenger. Oh. They got a message at the end of it. They do that. They get a message, you pull it in, trying to get it to the bow, but that wasn't bad. I mean, you get the message. Tiger 337, people out of the water. Okay, they want us to pick up the life raft.
Various items will be dropped to the area, including a communications device, inflatable life rafts, and a pump.
Okay, that's good.
Something? Yeah, there's a pump over here.
At the end of the C-130 exercise, Captain Corrigan and Captain Clark conclude communication. Then the C-130 flies back to base.
How do you make out? Any little chilling?
Everything was fine. They got a little wet, but other than that, they were happy. Pleasure working with you.
No, we got a lot of it, so as always, much appreciated.
That's where the coordinates what they give us.
Okay.
On paper here.
Right.
Say 45, 19, 442, 888, and 408.
Okay.
That's right there.
Having established the next position, the crew gets ready for Rescue 1000, a high-speed rescue boat with a crew capable of providing rescue services under many conditions and situations. The vessel is dispatched from Brebeuf Rescue Station near Midland, Ontario, under the command of Keith Pettinger. In this exercise, the crew will perform a high-speed docking with the Cambrian and subsequent transfer of a patient on a bodyboard. The first maneuver is a simple docking to gauge speed and maintain contact with the Cambrian. The crew prepares to perform a more complicated maneuver involving a high-speed docking, putting crew on the Cambrian. The pilot of Rescue 1000 must dock with the Cambrian while underway, and do it in such a way as to safely allow crew members to board so they may carry out any first aid toward transferring a patient to their rescue craft. Rescue 1000 undocks, then returns for a practice docking. It is not as easy as it looks. In this docking, we see the pilot position the boat so that a safe transfer of the bodyboard can be performed. Once this maneuver is completed, Rescue 1000 leaves the scene and returns to home base. In a real life and death situation, Rescue 1000 would head to the nearest transfer point for land transport to an emergency health facility. There is no rest on the Cambrian when emergency exercises are underway. Next, there is an operation involving a Griffin helicopter from 442 Rescue Squadron, Trenton. Captain Wilson, aboard the chopper, is in charge of this exercise. To begin, the helicopter pilot uses downwash to push the Cambrian into a new position. This maneuver is practiced for a situation where a boat may not be in a good position for aerial boarding. Next, the helicopter comes directly over the boat to land rescue personnel on an available deck. 2 men are landed eventually and then retrieved by the Griffin.
Yeah. Fancy you dropping in.
Oh, it's a nice camera.
Yeah, well, he's at it. So what's the next step?
Here, if we don't want ours to slide out then.
Yeah.
Water, so.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, quick, safe, and we're done.
In another practice run, 2 rescue personnel, capable of going into the water if necessary, are landed on the Cambrian. The final maneuver sees the 2 retrieved simultaneously. Ultimately, the exercise is completed and the chopper heads for home. The Cambrian returns to home port in Parry Sound, but the work is not quite complete. There's some tidy up, and of course the equipment dropped from the RCAF C-130 has to be packed up and returned. With that out of the way, Captain Bob Corrigan and the rest of the crew can call it a day and head home knowing their skills and the skills of others that were part of the exercises that day have been improved. Cambrian has been around in various forms since it started out from Thunder Bay as a fishing tug. Converted to a pleasure tug, the rugged steel boat is still used as an auxiliary Coast Guard search and rescue boat.